Good evening, everyone. My name is Michelle Healy, and I'm the Director of Facility Development and Planning for the district. Welcome to the Washington Open Community Facility Master Plan meeting. First, I want to extend my appreciation and thanks to each and every one of you for taking the time out of your evening to be part of this important conversation. In the next few moments, we'll explore the purpose and significance of this master plan, recap the findings of a recent facility conditions assessment, and present the proposed unfunded master plan that will be phased. Next slide. The facility conditions assessment was completed last year and identified specific maintenance needs of the school for the next 20 years. The district completed this analysis on every district property and presented the findings to the board in September of 2023. This information is used to develop a deferred maintenance plan for the district. The facility assessment found the site is in good general condition with newer playgrounds that were just put in by the bond office, and the permanent buildings are also in good condition. Part of the master plan is to replace all the portables on the campus with permanent buildings. The facility assessment.
Oh, did I go too far?
No,
Back?
You're good.
Okay.
You're good. The facilities master plan is not just a blueprint for construction. It's a vision for the future that will shape the educational experiences of generations to come. The district is master planning every school in the district, and all the phases are unfunded. Future funding may include statutory fees from developers for residential or commercial construction, community donations for capital improvements, grants, reimbursement funds from the state of California for the construction of Agnew, Huerta, and McDonald campuses. We firmly believe that the success of this plan depends on your perspectives, visions, and concerns for the school campus. It's a collective endeavor that thrives on collaboration, and we are eager to hear your thoughts and ideas. We encourage you to be active participants, asking questions, sharing your visions, and helping us prioritize the improvements that will make your school an even better place for our students to learn and grow. With me tonight is the principal, Heidi, and Vicki Luong and Lee Pollard from HY Architects. Iris Salazar is also joining us from the Facility Development and Planning Department. Please feel free to ask questions and unmute or type any questions into the chat. And now I'll turn it over to Lee and Vicki.
Thank you, Michelle. I was going to start by kind of explaining a little bit about our process with each school site, including Washington Open. We have a series of meetings with the school, starting with our first meeting, which is what we call Discovery, an opportunity to talk with the school, the teachers, and any interested people about the goals and guiding principles there at the campus, what we should be aiming for in terms of developing a master plan. Once we've done that, we then develop a couple of options for the master plan and feed that back to the site group and get feedback from them, and then proceed to fine-tune that master plan. And finally, this will be brought to the school board in the fall for their approval. Right now, we're at the stage where we're fine-tuning the master plan, and we want to kind of do a little bit of a community discussion about what we've developed so far and see if there are any thoughts or comments or concerns that you might have on this master plan. I'll start with kind of our first step, which was to kind of understand what was going on at the site, what worked well, and what could be improved. You see on the screen right now our notes from that meeting at the site, where we recorded dozens of comments made by the site and tried to bring those all together. We took all these thoughts and kind of identified some of the bigger picture items that are needed to be addressed in the school at the school. The first was that the current administration and welcome center, which includes student support services, was small and kind of a rabbit warren, if you will, of spaces there in the middle of the school. The multi-purpose room was too small to hold all the kids at once and to support the other programs that the school has, like drama and orchestra. We also then identified a need to provide more storage, a maker space on campus. There was a desire for to support the garden and cooking program that is on the campus, to try to improve the parking, drop off and pick up, after school care, and then finally, in the lower left-hand corner, it mentions adult restrooms. And also, as Michelle said at the beginning, it's a district goal to get rid of portables on all of the school campuses. So our first site meeting with the school, we had developed a plan. And as you can see, we got a lot of feedback on that plan, comments about how to arrange it, where to locate things, what they liked and didn't like. And so we took all that feedback and developed the refined master plan that I'm going to present tonight. This master plan has several major features on it. First, replacing the portables that are out on the blacktop with a new 2-story classroom building, creating a early learner quad at the north end of the campus, relocating the multi-purpose and admin using the existing building, but also kind of expanding that and improving the visibility and the entry of the school, and adding a new multi-purpose building down at the south end of the site that you see here. I'm going to keep going, and unless somebody has questions, please don't hesitate to either raise your hand or drop something in the chat if you have a question or a comment. But I'll just keep going until somebody asks me a question. So first, the Early Learner Center. Our concept is to improve the drop-off zones in front of there at the parking lot at the kind of the north end of the school, and then take these existing classroom wings and reconfigure them so that they are classroom spaces that are right-sized for kindergarten, transitional kindergarten, and preschool spaces. Moving to the middle portion of the campus, we are looking at the idea of creating a new administration welcome center with student services and wellness in the existing building, plus on the south end of that area, creating a new library that's adjacent to a maker space so that we have those student services kind of right up there near the front. And then again, as I mentioned earlier, replacing the portables out on the blacktop there next to the baseball field with a new 2-story classroom building so that we have all of the classrooms the school needs to continue its successful program. And then finally, at the south end of the site, we are proposing a new multi-purpose building. It would include a multi-purpose room that is sized to be for all the students to be in there at once. It would have a stage and space for a sports court. It would also have a large room for extended day services, a flex room, which is something that the district is asking us to put on all the campuses. That's roughly a 2,000 square foot room for rainy day PE or other activities that might not be accommodated by the other spaces we have. A music room. Then finally, I know you have a large performing and theater program, and we provided storage along the south end of that. And then the last element of this master plan is to provide new kitchen that's a full-size cooking kitchen, which is also part of the district goal of providing good food to all the students all the time. And so that's basically my presentation of the master plan. I'd like to ask if there's any comments or questions you have on this.
How many classrooms are slated for the 2-story classroom building?
That's, Vicky, can you correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's 16 classrooms.
That's correct. It's 16.
There's something in the chat from Christina Santos to everyone replacing the shed. And yes, we're going to have to replace the shed. That's the intent of adding that as a permanent building. The shed for the theater program, I assume is what you mean. And that is the intent of providing that storage room at the southwest end of the multipurpose space.
This is Christina talking. What size is that for the theater? Because we also, in the current shed, also hold a lot of teaching material, like curriculum stuff, not just theater stuff. So
we size that for a little bit over 1,500 square feet, maybe 16, Vicky, if I remember correctly, and so that's equivalent of about 1.5 classrooms in size, which is much
Actually,
larger than
I
the
apologize.
shed.
I think
Did I get that wrong?
it's a little bit bigger.
Oh, okay.
It's at least the current size, but I think it might be bigger. I don't know exactly how much bigger it is though.
Okay. All right.
okay, thank you.
Lee, I'd like to mention, can you go down 2 slides with the one where we have it enlarged to the admin and to classroom? Yes, that one. At the top right-hand corner there is the existing garden. We're definitely taking steps here to preserve the garden that you guys have. So I wanted to make sure you guys saw that.
Thank you. Heidi and or Michelle, was there anything else that we missed or that you want to make comments on?
No, I think you covered it. I mean, ideally, we would be replacing all of the classrooms that are currently in your administration building. The building, it's a little bit of a hodgepodge of classrooms and replacing the portables and putting them all in a new 2-story classroom building. And then creating a better wellness student services area. And that's where all your RSP, speech, psychologists, counselors, they would all have offices, conference rooms, and shared space in that area. And then the Welcome Center is your administration, which would be much larger than it is now. So there'd be more space, conference rooms, nurse, several offices in there, and that's kind of our standard classroom and welcome center / wellness center that we're slating for every school site. We're looking at expanding the library and adding more space to that so that there would be space for the stacks as well as additional space for breakout groups that we're seeing. And then we've attached the makerspace to the library. That's the plan that's at Agnew, and it works really well. So the students can flow in between the makerspace and then the library and do research in the library on a project that they might be working on, and then move back through to the makerspace. So that's a little bit of the layout of the administration, and then the thought behind the 2-story building. I will say that 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade will be on the 2nd floor of the 2-story building, and then 1st, 2nd, and 3rd would be on the 1st. So Vicky, do you remember how many square feet the makerspace is?
Give me, it's
about a classroom and a half.
Yeah. It's about 1,200.
Yeah. So we're designing it off of, it's a little bit larger than the makerspace at Agnew. And we're designing that same space at the new Laurelwood Elementary. And then, so it would have a large space with potentially a roll-up garage door, and then a storage area in it too. So that would all be included in that space. So the thought is that there'd be higher tables, and it'd be a collaboration space for the students for more project-based learning, or science experiments, or art, So it could be used for any of those classes.
Okay, and how big is the extended day? Like how many students would that hold?
It's two
about-
classrooms.
Okay.
2,000 square feet.
Hi, this is Carrie. I have a question about the multipurpose room. Will there still be a stage in the multipurpose room?
Yes, there will. It will be a larger multi-purpose room plus a full-size stage, well, plus a stage. That's kind of the right size for elementary schools. I don't want to say full-size stage because some of them are really big.
Right, of course.
So, believe you forgot to mention this. I think this is part of the great part about the multipurpose is the stage is the rectangle that you see on the left there. So you have the stage facing the inside of the MP. But then it also has a backward stage so it can face the outside. And so you can have larger audiences to perform out to. So you can have indoor and outdoor performance.
Oh, I see. Is that being done on all sites?
Yes.
I have a question. This is Leela. How big is the kitchen? And like what amenities are you planning to put in the kitchen?
I'll let Vicky answer the size, but I do want to say the kitchen is for the food service people only. It's not for students or staff. So it's a food service kitchen.
Washington Open currently has a kitchen. Where on this plan is the kitchen going to be that the students use?
We're intending to put that inside the makerspace so that it's there kind of in the middle of the campus.
I see. So is the makerspace going to be like, so it's a kitchen, what else is the intended purpose of that space?
Maker spaces are generally spaces that have an activity space. They have materials so that kids can build stuff in it. It's not a scheduled classroom, so to speak, but it's a large space for kids to build stuff, make things.
I guess my mind is going through cycles, so I appreciate you entertaining my questions. My question is more like if the idea of the makerspace is for kids to like create stuff and then use the library for research, it's kind of hard when it's like a kitchen and the kids are slightly messy and going back and forth to the library. And I'm wondering, like, how can the kitchen be really thought through? Because the cooking is like a big activity. On our campus, the kids use a lot of the stuff they grow in the garden and they cook it and they do it like most classrooms do it at least once a month. And so like, how can like that space be thought and also continue the maker space? Because I think that's really important too. I'm just like, I have lots of questions about like it being such a shared space and it being such an important part of the Washington Open community and what we do as parents who are involved. And so I'm just trying to think like, how can like a space be used? How can all these spaces be used and give like the full like open experience?
That's a very good point. I think we'll have to think about how we can make sure that there's adequate space and it's arranged so that it can support both the ongoing kitchen and food program for the kids, kitchen and garden program for the kids, as well as providing activity space for as a maker space. So I appreciate the comment and we'll look into how we can make that work for both.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
And I might have missed it, but also our ceramics program that we do, is that already set in an actual building now? Because right now it's in a cargo crate.
A cargo container. We did include a art space, or did we not, Vicky? Is that we did not have an art space? Could somebody help me with that there? Because I've forgotten what we did about the ceramics program on this campus.
The maker was supposed to be a catch-all for anything wet and messy. So cooking, art, anything like that, that was supposed to be the catch-all for that space, which is separate. But and then we have music, which is separate. So Yeah, the question about the kitchen, it definitely needs to be thought a little bit more.
Okay.
But art and maker was intended to be in that space together.
Did
So
you have an image of the maker building? I'm sorry.
The maker space is just this space that's shown as orange here. Let's see if I have it better. It's labeled on, and I'm sorry it wasn't labeled, but it's that orange space that's just in the corner of the library there.
So I will say that this is very basic height. It's kind of like your 30,000 foot level planning right now. And so we're just planning spaces. And so when there's actually funding and a project has been identified for Washington Open, and this could be 10 years from now, might be the soonest project. So we will come back to you, find out all your needs, address all of these questions, find spaces for them. And I think at that time, we'll get into the details of where everything's going to be. And it's possible that we add, depending on how the programs look at that point, there's a possibility that we would put maybe a separate classroom in the 2-story classroom building and have one of those classrooms. Maybe you don't need 16 classrooms in that building, and one of them turns over to become an art room or the kitchen or a ceramics lab. And so depending on what the program is at Washington Open at that time, we can look and say, okay, right now we're just allocating space. But when we actually have a project, we would come back and have many outreach meetings, community meetings, teacher meetings, student input meetings to make sure that we're addressing all the needs that are and meet all the needs that the school has. And so I think especially with the 2-story classroom building, we have some flexibility on spaces in that building to add different uses in some of those classrooms as needed. And then we can figure out how that maker space looks, and maybe the maker space becomes just the kitchen part, or maybe it becomes, it's probably not as easy to make that the ceramics lab if we're having a kiln. So maybe the kiln goes in the new 2-story classroom building because that's easier to build from a new construction. And then the maker space just becomes that the maybe 2D art room, or the extra project space. So we can dive into that when we actually get a project. For now, we want to know, does the makerspace work in that location? Does the flex room, because the flex room could also be used for art. The flex room would be a large room that could hold 2 classes. It's about 2,000 square feet, so 2 classrooms worth. And that room could be used for indoor PE, on rainy days, on smoky days. It could be used for art. So all of our master plans also have this extra space that we don't currently have on our campuses, and that can be used for a variety of uses depending on what the school campus needs. So there's that extra room that's already embedded in the master plan also. These are all great questions, and we're writing them all down, and we'll make sure that they're added to the master plan.
Thank you for that clarification and explanation.
Yeah. Any other questions or comments? All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining. We are recording this, so it will be up on our project website, and probably in the next week or so. And please let anyone else know who wasn't able to attend tonight that if they'd like to watch it. The PowerPoint will also be up on the website, so you can look at it, refer back to it, and please send us any comments. You can send Heidi comments and she can forward them to us, or you can email directly scusdmasterplans@scusd.net, and we will get all those comments and then add them to the master plan. So our plan is to present the Board of Trustees all of the master plans probably in the fall, probably October, November. We'll take all the schools' master plans and have the board approve that. And then we have that document ready for when we need it. Vicky, did you want to add anything? You're muted.
I just wanted to make sure Karen felt that her answer was answered too, because we did specifically address that one. Is
Oh.
that Karen? Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Art would Julie still have a classroom space as well. Just want to make sure that your answer addressed her question. I think it does.
Yeah, I'm trying to work through in my head all the various spaces that are needed simultaneously a lot of the times. And so if my concern was if art was in the makerspace is already going to be overtaxed with a number of things. So I love the idea of the makerspace, but I hope that it will be, I don't know that it's going to be enough with all the simultaneous ceramics and kitchen and all the different kinds of projects that are going on at the same time sometimes at Washington Open. So I'm trying to figure out how that will fit in, and art being in its own separate classroom, I think would help mitigate that.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
I was
We'll include that in our thinking. I do see that Leela has her hand up again.
Yeah, sorry. I was going to jump in and add on to what Carrie and Karen have been adding on. I know that it's going to be finalized this fall. Do you think that you're going to have another meeting with us where we can come back with like where you take some of the input before it gets presented as finalized? And just so we can say like, hey, what about this and what about, and just like help you think through all the different spaces that Washington Open currently has, and then also giving the flexibility of like what the future could look like, because we don't know what the 10 and 15 years are going to hold and what kids are going to be interested in learning, and so how to like build in some of that flexibility too.
Sure, we can come back. We are planning on having one more meeting with Washington Open, so we'll certainly be back probably in April or early May before the end of the school year. And then we can list out those programs so that in the master plan, we know that we need to identify these. So as Christina just mentioned in the chat, we did plan for 16 classrooms in that 2-story building, which is more than Washington Open probably needs. So there is some flexibility in there. And because this is at the master plan level, we can always add 2 more classrooms, make it 20 classrooms if needed, so that we have an extra art room or we have a kitchen. I think labeling a kitchen space might be wise so that in the future, when we're all retired, I say that with a smile on my face, but that at that point people will be like, oh yeah, that's right, they had the ceramic class, they had the master plan, included these different programs that Washington Open has. So yes, we will come back and we'll have more of those specialty classes labeled, and we'll figure out what programs might be able to share space and what programs need those own special classrooms. Because we do know that Washington Open is certainly different than the majority of our other schools and elementary schools because of the programs that you hold.
Mhm.
All right, any other questions, comments?
Just appreciate you guys taking the time to talk to us, hear us, all of our craziness at Washington Open.
Sure. Leela,
Hi.
you're muted.
Sorry, it's just a thumbs up of appreciation. Sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Well, thank you very much. We really appreciate your feedback too, because it just makes for a better master plan and a better plan. And so we'll take back your input and make some adjustments. And I don't think we have another meeting set up yet, but Iris will reach out to Heidi and we'll schedule one whenever everyone's available. And then we'll have Heidi email it out to everybody. So I know you're definitely a unique school, so we want to make sure that we capture all of those programs that you have. We don't want to be short-sighted at this point. We want to include everything. So
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Have a
Thank
great
you.
evening.